وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
I am Atef Abdel Gawad. Join me the first Friday of each month at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I will be discussing some of the most important issues and events in the Middle East live on America's Voice of the Arabs. WNZK 690 AM and WDMV 700 AM.
Good morning. Accusations in America against Judge Brett Kavanaugh and other powerful men in the media, film industry, and workplace raise questions about how common the problem is, given that less developed societies in the Middle East and the Arab world and elsewhere suffer from the same phenomena. It must be a universal male culture, but with superficial differences perhaps in practice and roots. To discuss sexual abuse in America and the Middle East, we have a group of distinguished women and men from both cultures. We will try to understand the roots of the problem and possible remedies. We have with us Renée Ahee, co-founder of Arab American Businesswomen Association, and Ahmed Mahmoud, communication and emotional intelligence specialist. We are also joined from Egypt by Marwa Macboul, broadcast journalist. From Tunisia, Ines Mathlouthi, member of the National Program for Gender Equality, and from Lebanon by Jana Saloum, journalist and news editor. Before we start our discussion, I would like to invite our audience to join us with questions or comments. The telephone number to call is 248-557-3300. That's 248-557-3300. Let's start our discussion. Before we do so, I want to go directly to the Middle East, our guests in the Middle East, to get an idea about what goes on over there. So let me start with Marwa Macboul in Egypt. And Marwa, please, the same question I'm going to ask our other guests in the Middle East. So what is sexual harassment in Egypt? How widespread is it?
Dr. Atef, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, well, about sexual harassment right here in Egypt, well, it's a profound problem. And it's deeply rooted and has different points that aggravated it from being just a phenomena with a few incidents into a crime where the accuser can easily evade the punishment. And this is not the right way. Actually, in the Egyptian constitution criminalizes sexual harassment and any form of sexual misconduct against women. However, women are often not encouraged to file complaints and are demanded to turn down their rights. They often receive passive reactions from other people witnessing the sexual harassment incident. So we also suffer here in Egypt, I think, and in the other Arab countries from male dominating cultural background. In a recent survey actually conducted by the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality, it was revealed that about 43% of men in Egypt, they believe that women like the attention and they admire being sexually harassed. And yes, and the proof for that kind of thinking found their way in the media platform to spread their ideas and this misconception. You know, a call for raping women and sexually harassing them, raised by a well-known Egyptian lawyer recently, as he said that raping girls who just wear ripped jeans is a national duty. Yes. And here actually comes another milestone in this problem. The society creates excuses for the harassers, as women in such incidents are being blamed for what they wear and what they actually do. There is a statistic say that over 62% of Egyptian men admitted harassing women, and 53 of them they have blamed women for bringing it on. So women are blamed all over the process that they brought the accuser for sexually harassing them. Previous reports by national and international organizations suggest that more than 99% of Egyptian women have been subjected to sexual harassment, and that victim blaming is a typical reaction to sexual harassment incident here in Egypt. Centuries of old traditions for the discrimination is blamed for that in the first place. The society tolerates with the abuser and meets the issue with negativity because actually people see it a lot. And this spread all over Egypt, especially just after January 25 revolution. It was not that much beforehand. So this is not treated as a crime punishable by law, and this is by society actually. And there is a stereotype which is deeply rooted that women have to live with it, and women who refuse this and would like to file a case or sue the accuser, they are accused of being defaming actually themselves. To sum up this, the problem lies in community stereotypes, cultural discrimination practices, and lack of women protection in the Middle East and especially in Egypt.
Okay, Marwa, thank you for the nice, complete picture that we have about sexual harassment in Egypt. We will come back to you in a few minutes, but let me go now to Tunisia, and the same question, Ines Mathlouthi. What's sexual harassment? How widespread is it in Tunisia?
Good morning, Dr. Atef. Well, in Tunisia, we have some terrifying numbers about this sexual harassment. So, a study conducted by a research center about women after 2011, after the revolution, 53% of Tunisian women experienced sexual harassment, 12% in public transportation. And the problem is that women usually blame themselves for being harassed. 87% of these women try not to attract attention in public spaces. For example, wearing decent clothes, they do not laugh and speak in public spaces, and they cover their hair, even they're not religious enough. And the study revealed also that 66% of the victims do not react to harassment, meaning they just leave. And they are terrifying, and they do not press charges because they are afraid or embarrassed. And just like in Egypt, it's becoming a cultural, if a man does not harass a woman, he's not a man enough. And Tunisia has taken the lead in this matter, and in 2017, the government issued an organic law number 58, which is relative to the elimination of violence against women. It's an abrogation of a previous outdated law, Article 227. This article allows the rapist to marry the victim, which is really outraged. And so the government, the civil societies, it's a national movement against this law. And finally, in 2017, it was gone. And now the rapist can face 20 years in prison or a lifetime sentence if the victim is under 16. This includes a spouse, ex-spouse, fiancé, or ex-fiancé. So even the husband, if he rapes his woman, his wife, he can go to prison if she charges him with this crime. So it's a crime. And also the Law 58 proposed new measures to deal with sexual harassment or violence against women. So we have the prevention. Prevention is ongoing, so all the ministries, civil society, associations are working together to prevent this phenomenon from spreading out. Secondly, protection of the victims. So we have qualified shelters, special unit victims in all police stations. And also we have a support. Support is mandatory financially and legally for the victims. And last but not least, punishment. Of course, punishment of the offender is about from 20 years and to life sentence. So we are doing really great. And something else, we have this phenomenon. It's because from 2011, the censorship over the internet access is off. So young men, young boys are viewing images and videos 3 hours per day. So the only information about women they get through these hardcore clips and movies, and to them this is how it's done. So it's the way that you have sex. This is what they believe. So an entire generation is growing up believing that what you see in hardcore porn is the way that you have sex. So harassing a woman in the street or in public transportation or at work has nothing to do with what she's wearing. All it is to the offenders, she's simply a woman. And because in porn movies, he saw how women enjoys violence and humiliation. And so it's the only source of sexual education available to them. Because unfortunately, at home, we cannot ask our parents about it because it's considered as taboo or inappropriate. So the only information they get is through these sexual violence movies. So that's why it's so profound in our communities. And the only way to stop it is to implant educational laws, and in our high schools, in our schools, just like in the US, they have sexual education.
Ines, we will discuss remedies and solutions in a minute. But thank you very much. We will get back to you in a minute. I want to go to Lebanon, the most liberal society in the Arab world, and see if the picture is so different there. But let me first go for a break, and we will discuss the situation when we come back.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600. The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
I am Atef Abdel Gawad. Join me the first Friday of each month at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I will be discussing some of the most important issues and events in the Middle East live on America's Voice of the Arabs. WNZK 690 AM and WDMV 700 AM.
We're talking about sexual harassment in America and the Middle East. Lebanon traditionally is known to be the most liberal society in the Middle East. Is it still so? We will find out. Jana Saloom, journalist and news editor, she will tell us what is sexual harassment in Lebanon and how widespread it is. Go ahead, Jana.
Hello, Dr. Jawad. Thank you for having me. Actually, it's so sad that we are the most liberal society in the region as people think, but the harassment issues are still kind of taboo. We don't have enough courage to talk about it, and the women don't find it easy to talk about it. And they are still seeking the equality with men, and if harassment happens, she would not expect to get her rights. So sexual issues in the region have been taboo until recently, and we have started to know about it just recently as the women are becoming more confident with the help of the media and women in the media that are empowering weak women to talk about these issues. Also, they are helping women to be more open and have the courage to spread the word and defend themselves. Also, there are new women organizations that are helping in this matter. Arabic region, mentality, and media are all changing in this, which is a good sign. And now there's a kind of a revolution in Lebanon. People are listening more openly to these stories, but unfortunately, women are still afraid of their conservative society, of the man in her life, and it's hard to talk about details of how she has been harassed and so. So, you know, there is still a conservative community in Lebanon who cares about the dignity of women, and just like in Egypt, exactly in Egypt, the woman is to blame in this situation. So the good sign is that now with the campaigns that are happening in Lebanon, Lebanese women are now suing, but also some are often taking it back in order not to be embarrassed by the questions to be answered. Sexual harassment and workplace law file is open now and still under study, but there is nothing legal against it until now. So the aim of this law, of this to-be law actually, is to criminalize sexual harassment in the workplace and to define penalties for this crime and also to protect the victim. Also, project on gender and sexuality in Lebanon. An American Lebanese university has launched a project called مش بسيطة, which means it's not simple. So it's not simple to be harassed. It's not something simple and just that's something that happened and it's okay. No, it's not okay. So this happened with the partnership of the Ministry of State for Women's Affairs, which shows some government intentions to help, which is good, I believe. And it's called Women to Share their experiences, their photos, and their comments on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to be part of the campaign by sharing their experiences of harassment. Actually, Dr. Atef, Lebanese women are interested in arranging their appearance, and elegance has become a key factor in obtaining a job and gaining respect and admiration from management at work, especially now there are so many financial issues and women need to work. But by her beauty or care to see her is a double-edged sword, which could expose her to harassment of a manager or even an admirer. So there are institutions in Lebanon, especially the marketing of them, are now imposing on their employees to wear sexy clothes so the employee's body mocks the customer to attract. Not all the companies, but it happens. I think that the Middle East region sexual harassment is still a taboo. Even if we are talking about it, we need to do big movements regarding this. And it's happening slowly, and Lebanon is among them. I think that Tunisia is beyond us. And thumbs up to Tunisia, of course. So this is what I have from Lebanon.
Okay, Jana, thank you for giving us that good idea about what goes on in Lebanon. Before I go to Renée Ahee, we have Jerry Habba, our friend, on the telephone. Go ahead, Jerry.
Thank you, Dr. Atef Abdel Gawad. Good morning to you, sir, and good morning to your distinguished guest. Dr. Atef Abdel Gawad, the point I'm going to raise over here to your guest, زواج المتعة والميسر, it is separate all over the Middle East. والشرع, from the religious point, they allow that. My question to you and to your guest, doctor, what your guests think about the temporary sexual relationship between man and woman in the Middle East. Does this concern as a part of the sexual abuse against the right of the woman when the parents allow her to get a relation with a man she never know? Don't you think will be against her wish? I would love to hear the answer, and thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Jerry. Even though the issue is related to sexual harassment, it's going to take us away from the focus of our show. But if anybody of our guests would like to comment on the question, please go ahead. Who would like to do that? Ahmed Mahmoud?
Hello, good morning, Dr. Atef.
Yes, good morning. So, what do you think we should do about zawaj al-mut'a, marriage for pleasure?
First, thank you for having me in your program, and thank you for discussing the important topic. Actually, as you know, zawaj al-mut'a, we have in our Muslim communities, we have Sunnis, we have Shi'is. So, zawaj al-mut'a is not allowed for the Sunni community, right? And even like zawaj al-misyar, your guest mentioned zawaj al-misyar, and zawaj al-misyar also, the majority of the Sunni scholars prevent zawaj al-misyar. So your guest, I think, he did not really focus on a big issue. The big issue we're talking here today is the sexual abuse and sexual harassment. And even zawaj al-mut'a and zawaj al-misyar is by the agreement of the both partners. So the woman will say yes, and the man will say yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not talking from a religious perspective. I'm talking from like a human perspective. Like the woman would say yes, and the man would say yes. So there's no, I cannot consider this as a sexual harassment or sexual abuse.
Yes, it's consensual, like consensual sexual relationship. Thank you, Ahmed. Now, Renée Ahee, you have heard views from, or you're getting a picture from Egypt, Lebanon, and Tunisia. And we have sexual harassment here in America. Any difference?
Good morning, Dr. Atef, and to my fellow commentators, and to all of you listening. It is a worldwide epidemic. Sexual harassment in the United States is every bit as prevalent, sadly. Our friend Jerry, who called in, he is talking about something else, but I want to congratulate him and thank him for talking about this as sexual harassment as a crime. In the United States, it is considered a crime. The National Sexual Violence Resource Center said that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men, you see the dichotomy here, will be raped in their lives. Every 98 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. And 1 out of every 6 American women has been a victim of an attempted or completed rape. This is epidemic. It is a horrendous crime, and it is punishable by law in the United States. So it is reflected worldwide, I think, some societies more than others. But it is a matter of power and right, and we are, in the United States, I'm grateful for the Me Too movement, because it is bringing to light the horrendous experience of a woman by a sexual harasser, whether it's in the workplace, in the home, or randomly. And so I just echo what the other ladies were talking about in their countries, but here it has been longer standing as a crime, and yet it is an embarrassment. It is a scourge on the woman, and it has caused her physical pain. Here we also have a tendency to blame the victim, which is an outrage to me on any crime. Abuse of any kind is not acceptable. Not acceptable in a civilized society. And we tend to blame the victim here. And so the bravery, the courage, and the outspokenness of some of these women is, to me, what is needed now to bring to the fore the outrage of sexual abuse and harassment. And how do we stop it?
So, Renée, as you can see, it is happening in the Middle East. It is happening in America. Can we conclude somehow that the reason behind it, since we have different societies, different cultures, and yet the phenomena is still the same, is it a male culture?
Dr. Atef, that is a loaded question, and I will say that it has to do with dominance and power, and it happens to be the patriarchy that is perpetuating this on what they consider to be a weaker society, weaker elements. My heart breaks for the women who have gone through this, because these are your mothers, your sisters, your daughters who are being abused. Women are the birthers. They give you life, and yet you thank them with harassment. And so I have very deep feelings about this, and very strong animosity toward those who would take advantage of any other human being for any other purpose, whether it's the abuse of a child or whether it's abuse of the elderly. So I think it does have to do with the position of power, and that those in power use it inappropriately and for harm, not for good.
Okay, when we come back, I'm going to ask Ahmed Mahmoud why men sexually harass women. After the break.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Ahmed Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Ahmed Nakash. See Dr. Ahmed Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937. Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
I am Atef Abdel Gawad. Join me the first Friday of each month at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I will be discussing some of the most important issues and events in the Middle East live on America's Voice of the Arabs. WNZK 690 AM and WDMV 700 AM.
Welcome back to our discussion on Radio Baladi. We are talking about sexual harassment in America and in the Middle East. And I have with us today a group of distinguished women and men, and I want to ask the only man we have with us today, Ahmed Mahmoud. Why men harass women, Ahmed?
Yes, doctor. Actually, we don't really have a clear answer to your question. There are several reasons why men may do sexually abuse women. So if we talk about the Middle East, for example, we can talk about wars. How wars affecting the society. Natural disasters, poverty. If we talk about the United States, maybe the social environment. Men maybe feel that they are, they're stronger than women on average. Going back to the social environment, Dr. Atef, the way we teach our kids in the school and in the society here in the United States, as we have the culture of the male-dominant society, kids will grow up like hearing phrases like, okay, you are weak, you throw up like a girl, you do this and that. They are going to think that women are inferior. We should be teaching the middle school students and the elementary students about respecting women. Again, we don't really have a clear answer what really makes that man sexually abuse women. It may be a psychological reason. If we talk from psychology perspective or maybe from religion perspective, what really prevents a human committing such a crime? It could be, like their ethics, and if we talk about ethics, we don't really have unified definition for ethics. What's ethical in the United States may not be ethical in the Middle East. Religion reasons, like we can also say someone is religious that really may prevent them from committing such a crime, or we can also talk about laws. What really prevents men from committing such a crime is because they are afraid of they are going to be punished by the law. But Dr. Atef, I also want to focus on the people who commit the sexual violence. We have some common misconceptions and stereotypes about people who sexually abuse. It's not helpful when these stereotypes are reinforced in the media coverage. Let me talk about some facts about how people abuse women. So the first one, not all offenders are the same. Some are more likely to reoffend than others. They can have strong social ties in the community. People who sexually abuse can be male or female and span a variety of backgrounds and ages. Some individuals are married with a stable relationships and employment. The majority of sexual violence is committed by someone the victim knows, a family member, an intimate partner, a co-worker, or a classmate. So this is a very serious issue. Over 90% of child victims know their offender, with almost half of the offenders being a family member of sexual assault against people aged 12 and over. Approximately 80% of victims know their offenders. So I hope I gave some summary about why do men assault women. We don't really have a clear answer to that,
Renee, any comment?
Dr. Atef, I think that Ahmed has been bringing out a very important point. I think that in some societies it is either encouraged or subtly encouraged. We do know that very recently, this past week, there's a study that came out about violence in video games having a detrimental effect and making children much more violent. So violence in all cases, whether it's bullying or taking advantage of another person, and in the case of sexual relations, taking advantage of a girl or harassing her, there has been a link proven that there is an increase in violence based on the socialization that you get from video games, that a child gets from video games. So that is also part of the equation. And I also think that in this culture, with the male dominance, and we don't take the respect of the women, and you can see this, the demeaning of women who have come forward in the Brett Kavanaugh case by the President of the United States. So the disregard for the word of the woman needs to be changed. We must increase the value, as I say, of the women who gave you life. These are the people who bring you into the world in order for you to create these situations, in order for you to act in this way. And so it is violence. We must consider it to be violence. It is not victim born or created. All violence against another human being is from the violator, not caused by the victim. And so I think that we have to change the narrative. We must teach our boys as we're raising them. Fathers, you must teach your boys the same as the mother teaches the boys, to have respect for his mother, his sister. All women deserve respect. All human beings deserve your respect. And you have no right to take advantage of another human being.
Okay, Jana, you have a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say exactly the same about raising boys, respecting moms and daughters and sisters, because in Lebanon we raise our children with double standards. So a father would accept his son to go out with girls and hang out with them and do whatever he wants, and he is the man when he does this. He is the hero. While when his daughter wants to just meet a friend for a coffee, this is not good for her dignity. So this double standards, while we are raising our children, we are giving the guys this image of disrespecting women. And I think it should start from raising our boys respecting the image of the woman.
Marwa Macboul in Egypt, I hope you are still with us. You pointed out that 44% of men believe that women like attention, they enjoy being harassed, and so forth. What are the defining line between giving somebody attention? Is it, in other words, is sexual harassment in Egypt primarily a verbal act, or is it a physical act?
Well, both acts are criminalized by law, Dr. Atef, here in Egypt, actually. And we really don't need laws in Egypt to criminalize sexual misconduct or harassment. We just need to make them come to an effect instead. As the commentators, fellow commentators said beforehand, society, it's very important that society must respect women and respect her freedom. And also to support the right of women and girls to know the different types of harassment they are subject to, and also the legal actions they can take against their harassers, and we shall respect her for that, not to be subject for defaming her reputation, actually, as a matter of fact, in Egypt and any Arab country. The protection of women reporting sexual harassment should be governed by laws that safeguard the impartiality of the investigations. As I said, we don't need new laws in Egypt, but beforehand there was a law that say rapist could escape punishment if he agrees to marry his victim. But that law was abolished in the 90s, and by the way, the Egyptian law imported that from the French penal code. So that was not of any Islam or any other source. Regarding the punishment of violators by laws, by the Egyptian law, actually, it varies from minimum of 6 months in prison for verbal sexual harassment in private or public places to a minimum of 1 year in prison and, of course, paying fine for unwanted sexual contact. That varies between 2 years in prison to 5 years if the sexual harassment occurs at work. So we have laws that protect women's rights. They have laws that protect women's freedom, but we don't put this to act, to be effective, because simply the victims are afraid to report their accusers. So society, in the first place, must support women and support the rights of being free. There is a campaign launched by the Center for Egyptian Women called Anakaman, which is the Arabic version for the hashtag #MeToo that Dr. Ahee has referred to shortly. That campaign works as a space for women in Egypt and the Arab world to speak out and helping them to break the silence about their sexual harassment. There is one very important point actually I would like to refer to, is that religion also plays a very important role in our life, in our Arab countries especially. So I believe there is a need to change that religious discourse to honor women and to value the rights of freedom instead of focusing on what she should or should not wear and how she is fitna. That this is very important. One of the commentators said that I'll refer to Zawaj al-Muta. I have a point to say about this issue actually in brief. Well, Islam honored women and to treat them right. Prophet Muhammad urged men to take good care of women, as he said, "Istawsu bin-nisa khayran," and to treat them right and to treat them as if they were fragile objects. رفقاً بالقوارير. So I don't think is Zawaj al-Muta or the marriage for pleasure is anywhere close to this, treating women as subject of sexual pleasure. So I believe we still have a lot to do to overcome this issue.
Thank you, Marwa. When we come back after the break, I will ask Ines in Tunisia about the connection between the internet and sexual abuse. When we come back.
تعرفوا شيء، احنا كتير بنهتم بالمقبلات بالأكل الشامي،
واحنا بنهتم بالبهارات والتسبيكة في الأكل المصري،
واحنا نهتم هواية باللحوم وجودتها بالأكل العراقي، واحنا في مطعم عشتار نهتم بيكم، اعتمدوا علينا أيا كان. نحن في عشتار نعرف أن لكل مذاق أسرار، فنحن نقدم أجود أنواع اللحوم من ملحمة عشتار الواقعة على 56865 راين رود.
عشتار، قصة حضارة ترويها لكم أطباقنا المميزة في كل زيارة.
تفضلوا بزيارتنا في 3625 East 50 Mile Road, Sterling Heights.
مطعم عشتار بإدارة فادي بهنام وعلي البغدادي. 586-698-2585. 586-698-2585.
The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
أسواق زمزم الواقع على 24065 أورشد لك في مدينة فارمington هيلز ترحب بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. تنزيلات كبيرة على عموم المواد الغذائية في يوم الأربعاء من كل أسبوع. لا تنسوا فريش كاري اوت، جميع انواع المعجنات، وايضا صواني الكمبو المشكله والصمون الحار. لحوم حلال الجاليه العربيه والاسلاميه الملحمه باداره قصاب الجاليه المعروف سلوان جربوع. زوروهم على 24065 اورشد لك في مدينه فارمington هيلز او اتصلوا بهم على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمذاقي عنوان لجميع طلباتكم. اتصلوا على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمعامله الراقية وكرم الضيافة عنوان.
I am Atef Abdel Gawad. Join me the first Friday of each month at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I will be discussing some of the most important issues and events in the Middle East live on America's Voice of the Arabs. WNZK 690 AM and WDMV 700 AM.
Welcome back to our discussion on Radio Baladi of sexual harassment in America and in the Middle East. And now I have a question for Ines in Tunisia. Ines talked about the connection between the internet and sexual abuse.
Well, sexual harassment or sexual violence is mainly caused by the absence of sexual education in our schools. We do not have a plan for sexual education. 2 decades ago in Tunisia, it's used to be called a friendly flirtation between men and women. So, but after 2011, something happened and censorship over porn website was lifted and the entire public access was exposed to the porn industry. So young, inexperienced boys and men got the wrong message about women and sexuality for that matter. So since porn objectifies women and it make you believe that this is how it's done. So therefore, an entire generation is growing up believing that what you see in hardcore porn is the way you have sex. So harassing a woman in the street or in a public transportation or at work has nothing to do with what she's wearing or who she is or her ethnicity. She's a woman. So it's okay for you to harass. And like I said, this is the problem. You do not have such sexual education in schools or at home because it's taboo, inappropriate to ask your parents about it. So the only source of information we have is internet. So that's why we have this problem.
Do we have sexual education in our other countries represented on the line in the Arab world? Is it just Tunisia that does not have sexual education?
I think Egypt too, they do not have that.
Yes, we don't have sexual education here because simply we consider this as a taboo. We don't have the right to ask our parents even about this. Little young people, they turn to educate themselves through experience this themselves or simply ask their fellow peer about this, or simply, as in Tunisia, they turn to porn and they watch adult movies to educate themselves about this. So simply they get misconceptions about the sexual issue in general and how to treat women in particular.
Is Ahmed Mahmoud still there?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, I want to give you an opportunity to tell us if you think there is a certain amount of responsibility on women.
On women, I don't see there is any responsibilities on women because the victim has nothing to do with it. I always blame the abuser, the sexual abuser. As the guest mentioned, that they have a variety of excuses. She's a woman. She is weak. She is wearing inappropriate clothes and variety of reasons. So I don't really see any responsibilities on the women that or any steps they have to do. But just for their safety, they should be aware of verbal sexual abuse, and especially during their in the work environment. And a very important point, Dr. Atef, I want to mention that we did not really talk about that much in this program is what happened between the husband and wife, especially in the Middle East community. That we don't really see that much on TVs and media coverage. That a lot of the time the husband abused or forced their wife to do something. So it's also important that we teach younger people about consent. A lot of the time when we teach kids about sex, we don't teach them that they have the right to control what happens in their bodies. Consent means that both partners must give their verbal permission for each stage of the sexual activity. So people need to know that they have the right to say no. Back to your question, Dr. Atef, I don't really see there's any responsibility for the women. They, of course, they have to be aware of their surroundings. They have to protect themselves and be in a safe place all the time. But as the studies shows that 80% of the time sexual abuse happens from a family member, from an intimate partner, a co-worker, employment. So it's always in a safe place. It's like a stereotype. We think a sexual abuse may happen like late at night in the street. This is not true. As the studies shows that 80% of the time it happens actually in a safe environment.
Okay, I have about 2 minutes left, and I want to ask all my guests a very, very critical question. What is acceptable to each one of you, my dear women friends, what you can tolerate, what you can say that's a nice compliment and not sexual harassment? Let's start with Renée.
Dr. Atef, in my view, complimenting a woman is a very nice thing to do, but talking about her bodily features is not a good thing to do. That's not a compliment. That I spoke intelligently, that I carried myself with dignity, all of those kinds of things are very comforting and very acceptable in my view. But when you talk to me, when you demean me, when you say that my point of view is not valid, when you say that my body is lovely or ugly, and you catcall, this is not appropriate behavior. This is something that I will not tolerate. And I think that all women have to have, as Ahmed just said, a self-respect. There are things that you cannot accept and should not accept.
Okay, Marwa.
Yes, so I totally agree with Dr. Ahee about what she said, that women should be treated as human beings who should be respected and not to be treated as an object. And definitely we would like to hear good words, sweet words and comments, but definitely not about our body.
Ines.
Yes, I agree with Marwa and Dr. In my view, if a man starts with a nice compliment is always acceptable, but he starts to push it and to talk, disrespectfully, then it's not acceptable. To me, it's harassment, especially if I says no and he keeps talking. So to me, that's harassment.
And Jana?
Yeah, I believe that, as I said before, that we should start raising our boys to look at women respectfully and to raise our girls to respect themselves and deserve a good image of themselves and have more confidence and know more about what harassment could be in any form, in words, physical or verbal. It could be also verbal. So they should seek more for their respect out there in the workplace. And the more we may keep this behavior of being harassed as normal or not a big deal, the more women will be scared to come out or even not bother saying anything because they know it won't make a difference. So laws and society need to be working together to create a greater change, not allow this kind of abuse to happen to anybody.
Jana Saloom, thank you very much. Also, my thanks go to Renée Ahee, Ahmed Mahmoud, Marwa Macboul, and from Tunisia, Ines Mathlouthi. And I will see you the first Friday of next month. Have a good weekend.